we're definitely going to win this war, and the good people around the world support Israel.
And what scares you the most?
The fundamental roots of what's behind this war. You know, you have to realize what the roots, to know who you're fighting. The first floor is preemies and the second floor is rockets. It's not something that normal human beings could understand.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I have a special guest here, my sister Yardena.
Hi guys, how's it going?
A real Israeli.
Oh, thank you.
So Yardena, I just wanted to interview a real Israeli, just to talk a little bit about what we're going through here in Israel, how it's been since October 7th. It's been about 6 weeks.
If I just say something to your viewers, I have to tell you guys.
No, please don't.
I know, it's embarrassing.
Don't embarrass me, die. No, please don't embarrass me.
I shouldn't embarrass you?
No.
Okay.
Let's just say she's my #1 fan.
I'm her #1 fan.
She watches all the videos.
Thanks for your support.
Yardena, so why don't you tell us a little bit about what is it like to be an Israeli these days? What's the atmosphere like?
Well, this might sound a little bit strange, but the atmosphere, there is a high morale in our country right now. We're obviously going through very difficult times in this war. There's a lot of pain and tragedy. Soldiers that have been killed, our hostages that are still in captivity, but the morale of the Jewish people in Israel is very high. You feel a very strong sense of unity that was not there, unfortunately, before this war, and a very high morale it's just seeping from, it's just everywhere you go, you feel that energy that we are in our land, we are fighting the right for the right cause, and God is with us. Should we start off also with that you guys lived with us for a month and a half?
Oh yeah, we
let's just give them a little background.
Oh yeah. So since the war started, my husband and I and the 3 kids, we came to live over here with my parents and my sister and my nephew. We came to live here because we don't have a bomb shelter where we live. Near Tel Aviv, we don't have a bomb shelter. So a few times at night, we had to wake up the kids, bring them 3 flights of stairs down when there was sirens and no rockets here in the Shomron. Very, very quiet. And my kid, one went to school, one went to kindergarten here together with our cousin. So it was really, really nice. Now we went back home since the ceasefire. Hopefully it'll be quiet for us now where we live near Tel Aviv.
Even though it was a lot of fun to live with you guys.
Maybe we'll move back. Yardena wants us to move back in.
It was a lot of fun, even though it was a little bit loud.
Yeah, my kids are a little bit loud.
Just a little. But it felt good, Tamar. It felt good to spend the war together.
Yeah.
That's basically also back to that question of what I'm feeling. There's a solidarity that we also felt on the family level. Of family bonding and to spend the war together. It was very nice to be together.
Since October 7th, or in the past 6 weeks, like what was a moment that you really got very emotional or like cried? I guess there's a lot, most people are crying a lot, but what do you remember? Something that made you really get sad and cry?
That's a good question. I remember at the beginning of the war, we're like 4 or 5 weeks,
6 weeks in?
6 weeks in. The first 2 weeks, we were all shocked. Tamar wasn't able to even talk on the phone. I remember I talked to her. I talked to you a little bit. She couldn't talk beyond like just technical. I'm okay.
Also, I wasn't really sleeping. Were you sleeping okay?
I was right. Tamar wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating for the first 2 weeks. Together, we were very. I think most Israelis, most Jews were not functioning.
Also, some people
100%.
Experienced a lot of anxiety. Like some people, they couldn't leave their homes. Like you said, your friend.
Oh yeah.
She locked, like in the center of Israel, she locked all of her doors, all of the windows. Closed the shades. Like
she
people
couldn't go
just.
out. Yeah.
The sense of security.
Safety. Me and Tamar, we sometimes finish each other's sentences.
Your sense of security.
The sense of security, right. So let's put it this way. The first 2 weeks of the war were
you crying?
Horrific. I was crying a lot.
Wow.
As I was saying Zams.
Tehillim.
What made me cry.
Yardena is very, very spiritual.
Oh,
I just have to say, Like one of the things that she really, like since the war, she really started learning about, would you say you learned about like the ideology of Islam? And not so much in an intellectual way, just more like really understanding the religious roots.
Yes, the roots. That's the word. The fundamental roots of what's behind this war. You know, you have to realize what the roots to know who you're fighting.
Because, like we said, it's not some territory. It's not about territory.
This is not a territorial regular war.
Right. We wish.
We wish. This is.
And some people in the beginning, like there was a lot. The Hamas terrorists themselves filmed things in the beginning.
Right. They were proud of it.
At first they were proud, but then they saw that the world was so shocked, they started taking it down. So at first they were proud. They for years and years of horrible education, they think that this is something good to murder children. They thought that it was something to be proud of. So at first, a lot of people were seeing things on Telegram and Instagram, and I have a few friends that they saw all the videos, all the footage, like
before it got to the news.
Before it even got to the news, and also like once it got to you just see everything coming in.
That's terrible.
Where did you like? How much do you let yourself watch the atrocities? I guess it's mostly the atrocities that were in the beginning.
Right.
How much were you subjected to?
I basically, the answer is almost zero. Wow. I tried to minimize my exposure to the footage and the images of the atrocities. I just couldn't. I literally could not handle it.
Wow.
But just hearing about the atrocities,
you knew enough.
Was enough.
Yeah.
And I think that it's
because some people say also that it's like you should know what happened. Something about seeing in your own eyes and knowing what happened.
Of course, it's very important to know.
Kind of like the Holocaust, knowing.
For sure. Knowing the stories is mandatory. It's a must. And we're hearing the atrocities.
Right, you don't need to see every brutal
There's something that could be, God forbid, scarring for somebody who's...
Right, some people
any human being that has a conscience and a heart, it's hard to see these pictures where, I mean, these footages, the footage of the atrocities, they play it for top officials. It's things that are hard to see, hard to stomach. You can't stomach it. We still don't. I think basically till this day, the Israeli society, the Jewish people, we're still processing. We're not fully understanding the magnitude of this, the 1,200 killed and hostages and the massacres and rapes.
I know that this is maybe like a optimistic person or a Jewish person to always try to look at like the good side or the positive. Like I just saw a news article that said how this was in some way that it was a miracle because if this would have happened on the northern end, where there's 40,000 in the Hezbollah and they have more rockets, and if they would have surprised us, it could have been like we wouldn't even be able to mobilize our reservists in the army, and also miracles that happened where like
on individual levels.
Individual levels, like, do you see that? Do you see how the miracles took place?
Absolutely.
Like, with everything, all the bad that happened?
Absolutely. It's very hard to say because there's so much pain around us and within us. But you see the hand of God in the way that the Israeli nation is waking up and uniting. These are things,
you know something good is coming.
Yeah, you feel a certain sense of awe, like something bigger than what we see is happening, taking place, and we believe in the process of redemption, that the Jewish nation returned to our land. We have a state. The redemption it's a state. It's a process, and there's different stages, and they say that they plan to have a combined attack from the north of Israel and the south in Gaza.
Right, like a combined attack. It would kill us. Like
it would be horrific.
It might be the end of like.
Right, they say it would be an existential threat.
The end.
And what happened was Hamas. The experts say that the Hamas attacked without basically cooperating and coordinating with the Hezbollah in the north, and that's sort of what saved us, even though it was horrific as it was. You probably talked about this on your other videos, some of them, how the Israeli public was divisions inside the society. A lot of it was political, and the values of the state, how they want the character of the state to look like, and the
right. That I saw someone, Caroline Glick said something interesting, that it wasn't that what we were fighting about for the last 10 months is not that it wasn't important issues or core issues,
meaningless,
like, meaningless. Yeah, like these are important issues about the way the Jewish state will look like,
right.
how we'll treat the religion, how the division of power will be like. These
right.
are, it's very important questions, but the way we were, something about the way we were fighting
was very, very combative, and it was dividing us.
My way or the highway, like it was very.
People were saying, you know, those are not my brothers. Those are not my brothers. I mean, traitors were using language that was. It felt like a civil war, and in one moment we just united and came together. We see it now in the reserves, in the army. You have all types of Israelis. Also during the massacre, unfortunately, a lot of the soldiers that went down into Gaza, you had from all segments of Israeli society. You had the religious, you had the settlers, you had the leftists, the right-wingers. They all were there fighting together. We remembered we're all brothers and sisters.
And what scares you the most about the war, about the state of Israel? Like what are you worried about? Is there anything that worries you? You know we're going to win and everything's fine?
You know me and my optimism.
You're very optimistic.
I'm please God, with God's help, we're definitely going to win this war. No choice but to win this war, because this is a war about good versus evil. And I think that any decent human being in this world, Jewish or non, sees that the atrocities that were done by these barbarian terrorists, that's not freedom fighting. That's evil. And we're definitely going to win this war, and the good people around the world support Israel. I am personally scared for our soldiers and men who are still hostages.
Right.
Now there's some women and children that, thank God, are being released slowly. And the soldiers and the men, our husbands, our fathers, our
because
brothers.
You know that they said that Hamas said that any male over 19 is a soldier.
Right. Like, they view the men as any man over 18 is a soldier. So
our fathers.
I'm just praying. We still need a lot of hopes and prayers that they'll all be released.
Right. I saw some YouTubers saying, like some doctor YouTubers saying that whatever, she doesn't care who started this war. There's no moral validity to attack a hospital, to go into a hospital, and also like the citizens of Gaza, they're, who knows what, they're in bad conditions. 1.7 of them left their homes from north to south of Gaza. Like, what do you say? What do you think about, why should they suffer? Why should they suffer? Or you as an army, like you're doing something wrong by harming these innocent civilians?
Well, I think it's obvious now that Israel invaded the hospital, and we saw the tunnels and the terrorist headquarters right underneath the hospital and inside the hospital as well. There was a floor. But she
doesn't care. She said no one should have to give birth like that. And
the Israeli army has been very humane to the hospital patients, to Shifa Hospital. We have provided supplies. We had boxes of supplies for the preemies, for the babies, for the patients. They refused to take those supplies. It's hard to understand how Hamas and these civilians did not want Israel to help the patients. And we came in the most humane way inside the hospital, just targeting the terrorists, right. Trying to help the patients. And we did our best to try to transfer the patients, as complicated as that operation is. And they also refused our help for the most part. So I think that now it's clear, there's evidence, there's footage. Yeah. There were terrorists in that hospital, and also hostages were brought to that hospital. So that hospital...
I think definitely, like, it's known that Hamas has been using hospitals
now
purposely
clear.
Because they know that the West and Israel don't would never
Of
attack
course.
hospitals. I
No
think-
human being could fathom how you could, the first floor is preemies and the second floor is rockets. It's not something that normal human beings could understand. It's because it's not understandable.
So last question before we end this interview. Out of all the people and soldiers killed in the first day, either defending the Jewish settlements, or people who were killed in their home or massacred at the party, or the people kidnapped, was there any family or soldier or someone that you felt really close with, or thankfully you don't know anyone personally?
Right, I don't know anyone personally
that was
God.
killed or kidnapped, but was there any story or someone that you read about their story or heard their story and it really...
I think that the hostages that were taken, there's a family of hostages that maybe this image also, your viewers have seen this, two redhead babies and their mom that were being kidnapped, and as they were being kidnapped, the mom was hugging them, holding them in the worst of circumstances to still shower that love and protection on your kids.
Right.
Something that just, it's heart-wrenching.
They say that Hamas purposely gave them over to a different organization, maybe so they won't have to give them back in the deal or something. Something about those redheads. People really remember those two redhead images of those kids.
Please God, we should have all of our hostages,
all of them
women,
back.
children,
Our men
and
also.
soldiers, all returned safely. Please God. And we're living in very complex times. I think there's a lot of unity and pride, and there's a lot of pain. On the other hand, at the same time, there's a tremendous amount of morale, high morale, and you just see Jewish brothers and sisters. All hands are on deck,
really
and everyone's helping each other get through this. And we'll be
Thank you
optimistic.
so much. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Tamar.
Bye. See you
Bye,
next
guys.
time.